Sometimes, gambling doesn't feel like a bad choice, it feels like the only one. Not because you're reckless, not because you don't care, but because when everything else feels stuck, flat, or quietly suffocating, gambling offers something nothing else seems to: a door, a sense that something could finally change. If that sounds familiar, I want you to hear this clearly before we go any further. You're not broken, and you didn't end up here by accident. If we haven't met yet, I'm Phil Shea. I'm an addictions counselor, and I work primarily with men who are struggling with gambling and video game addiction. And one of the most common things I hear from people who gamble isn't, "I wanted to get rich." It's, "I just needed something to break the monotony. I needed relief. I needed escape, even if it's temporary." So let's talk about why gambling can start to feel like the only option, and why, over time, it quietly turns into a trap. For a lot of people, gambling doesn't show up during the best chapters of their life. It shows up when things feel stalled, when effort doesn't seem to pay off, when work feels draining but not rewarding, when money is tight, relationships are strained, and the future feels hazy. You can do everything right and still feel like you're treading water. And when life stops offering clear progress, the nervous system starts looking for certainty. Not happiness, certainty. Gambling offers that. It may seem paradoxical, but gambling provides a clear outcome, a win or a loss. A moment where something decisive happens. In a world where everything feels slow, ambiguous, and out of your control, gambling feels sharp and immediate. It cuts through the fog. Here's something that doesn't get talked about enough. Gambling doesn't just sell money. It sells hope. Not long-term hope, not the slow kind built through effort and trust, but instant hope. Feeling that this moment could be the one where everything shifts. Debt gone. Pressure lifted. You can finally breathe easy. That feeling is powerful, especially if real life hasn't given you many reasons to feel optimistic lately. And once your brain learns that hope is only a few taps away, it remembers. Another reason gambling grips so tightly is that it creates an illusion of control. You choose the game, you place the bet, you make the call. Even when the outcome is random, the process feels active and skill-based. And for people who feel powerless in other areas of life, work, finances, relationships, that sense of agency can be intoxicating. It's not that gambling gives you control, it's that it lets you feel like you have it. And when you're starved for that feeling, the brain holds on. Over time, gambling stops being about excitement. It becomes about regulation. Stress spikes, you gamble. Boredom creeps in, you gamble. Shame builds, you gamble to escape it. At that point, there's no longer a choice you're making. It's a reflex. Your nervous system has learned, this is how we survive this feeling. And that's why quitting can feel so terrifying. Because it's not just giving up gambling. It feels like giving up your main coping strategy. This is where outside advice usually falls apart. Just stop, have more discipline, walk away. That advice assumes gambling is just a bad habit. But if gambling is the thing that gives you hope, breaks monotony, provides relief, creates a sense of control, then stopping without replacing any of that doesn't feel like recovery. Like being told to hold your breath indefinitely and act surprised when you're gasping for air. Willpower wasn't designed for that. So here's the cruel turn. What starts as a way out slowly becomes the thing keeping you stuck. The losses add pressure. The secrecy adds isolation. The shame adds weight. Now, gambling isn't relieving stress, it's creating it. But by then, it still feels like the only door you know how to open. So you keep walking through it, even though it leads you back to the same room over and over. This doesn't mean gambling was evil. It did serve a function. This part matters. It wasn't random. It wasn't stupid. It helped you cope when you didn't have better tools available. Acknowledging that isn't excusing the harm. It's understanding the mechanism. And understanding is what gives you leverage. Because once you see what gambling was actually doing for you, the path forward changes. So the way out isn't muscling into abstinence while your life stays empty and stressful. The way out is rebuilding what gambling replaced. Real sources of relief. Real forms of progress, real connection. That's slower than a bet, but it doesn't collapse around you. Recovery isn't about removing the behavior and hoping for the best. It's about structuring a life that doesn't need escape to feel bearable. And yes, for many people, that does start with stepping away from gambling long enough for your nervous system to settle, long enough to regain perspective. Bright lines create breathing room, and breathing room creates choice. If this video resonates with you, it doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're paying attention. You're noticing that gambling isn't actually the way out. It just feels like one when everything else feels blocked. You don't need more shame. You don't need tougher rules. You don't need to white-knuckle your way through this. You need understanding, structure, and support. That's what this channel is for. And if you want help unpacking what gambling has been doing for you and how to build something more sustainable in its place, you don't have to do that alone. I'm Phil Shea, Addictions Counselor. Click the link below to book a free consultation and see if working together makes sense for you. Thanks for watching and for taking another step toward a life that doesn't need escape to feel livable. Have a great day.